in the challenge or not. I'm really talking today about my business planning framework, which is the framework I use for developing all the business plans for my clients and showing you how you can apply it to your own business. So with that, I have a few slides prepared. Like I said, I promised that this would be unscripted, and it is pretty much unscripted, but I am pulling some pieces from my webinar playbook to help you understand how this framework works. So just give me a second, and I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. So this should pop up, and we are, yes, all right, awesome. Looks like it's gonna be good here. All right, so welcome to the masterclass. So here, if you weren't in the challenge, or even if you were and you just need a refresher or a couple of minutes to catch up. So here's just what we've gone over the past week or so if you've been involved with our business planning challenge. The first day was all about declaring your ideas. So just talking about what big things do you want to accomplish? What big ideas do you have? If you haven't started your business yet, what is the concept or the idea that you're working with? The whole idea was to start getting you articulating your thoughts and ideas around what you want to do in business, because that's honestly one of the big pieces that keeps people from moving forward, is that they just work in a silo and they don't talk enough about their ideas. So first, day one was all about that. Then on the second day, I challenged you to get some feedback. So whether that was on our Facebook page, asking for feedback on your ideas, or just talking to friends and family, just getting getting some wider or broader perspective on what you wanted to do in business can really help you boost your confidence. So that's what day two was about. Then day three was setting goals. So if you're brand new in business, what is a goal that you want to achieve in 2017? Something beyond just getting started, but some sort of impact or something that you wanted to accomplish in 2017. If you were already in business, what's the massive goal, or what's the big, hairy, audacious thing that you want to accomplish? It didn't have to be a financial goal. It could just be about impact, getting new clients, helping people in need. Whatever it was about setting clear and articulate goals that you can actually measure that whether or not you've achieved. Then day four was about making a budget, and here you didn't even have to worry about the hard numbers. See, making a budget isn't always about finance. It's just understanding what the expenses are that you will need to incur to start your business. Because sometimes actually putting a number on things can be a little bit scary. We don't really know what we have to spend money on. So developing the budget was about figuring out what those expenses are and then beginning to attach numbers to them. And then finally, creating an action plan. So what is it that you're going to do to make this idea a reality in 2017? How much are you going to have to spend? What other smaller objectives are you going to have along the way? And this is where I introduced my 6-part business planning framework to you. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a framework that I use every time I develop a business plan for a client. We start with the 6-part framework. We don't start with a template. So the problem is that so many people begin their business by trying to write a business plan. They just push through and they grab a template and they try to fill it out and they get totally stuck. And the problem with this is that templates are rigid and they're inflexible and they're full of jargon, and sometimes the instructions aren't clear. And if you're trying to fill in a business plan template and pack an idea that isn't really well formed into that structure right off the bat, you will probably fail at developing the plan. And this is not a confidence booster, it's actually a confidence killer. So a lot of people are like, I don't know if I can start my business because I can't even do a business plan. And I'm like, all right, well, look, before you do the plan, before you start choosing a template, before you start doing market research, diving into data and trying to, figure out all these statistics, and before you start thinking about how wealthy you can be, just work on developing this framework. So if you were in the challenge, this 6-part framework will look familiar. I emailed it out to you on day 5. If you were not in the challenge and you want to get this framework, you can definitely do that. All you have to do is email me at jessica@renegadeplanner.com. I'm actually going to pop that into the chat right now and let you guys know that you can just email me and I will send it right back to you. All right. So these are the headings that I work with, and you'll see that they kind of resemble some of the parts of a business plan. Measurement, it has to do with financials and metrics. We have budgeting, goal setting, all of this. These are pieces of the business plan, but really what the framework helps you do is flesh out your idea, flesh out your concept, so that you really know what you're getting into. And only at that point are you actually ready to develop that specific plan. So I recommend that you take the time to develop a framework too, and I'll go over it on the next few slides, what exactly each of the pieces are. And once you've done that, then actually creating the business plan sort of starts to become a bit of a piece of cake. All right, so let's go into part one. Part one is figuring out the problem that you're solving and the solution that you offer that nobody else can. All right. Now, again, this is the order that I tend to complete the parts of the framework in. You don't have to complete them in this order. You can bounce around, and that's totally fine. So, is there a specific problem that you're trying to solve? And now a lot of people say, well, I have an e-commerce business, or I'm selling retail products, or I'm selling food. I don't really have a specific problem that I'm looking to solve. And you're wrong about that. The problem is not always severe, and it's not always acute, but it's something that at a specific point in time needs to be solved for that customer. So let's say you want to open an ice cream shop, right? You might think, well, what kind of problem am I solving by opening my ice cream shop? Well, you're actually solving a perfect problem for a family with 2 kids on a hot summer day who happens to be in your neighborhood, and their kids are complaining and they really, really need to cool down. That's a problem at that specific moment in time, and your business can solve it. So, of course, that relates to who your ideal customers are and who you want actually coming into your business, but that's coming up on the next slide. So being able to articulate the problem that you solve and the specific solution that you have that is better than all of the other alternatives out there on the market, that's that first piece of the framework. All right, and then that leads quite naturally, I think, into the concept of the ideal customer. And you will have definitely heard this one before if you're following marketers. Almost any marketer online will talk about the ideal customers. Being able to define those exact people who have the exact problem that you want to solve is a really key element to being able to develop your business plan, because you are designing your operational plan. You are designing your business plan for this specific group of people and to give them the best possible experience. So if you haven't defined who they are, it's really, really difficult to make a business plan. So who are those perfect customers for your business? In the example of the ice cream shop, it's that family with the kids in the hot day, and they really, really need a place to cool down for their kids, like right now, and get that sugar fix. So who are your ideal customers now? How are they solving their problem today? Because chances are you have a competitor on the market who's trying to reach out to that same group of people. So how are those people solving that problem? Where are they going for advice and resources and the products that they need right now? Okay, acknowledging your competitors is a really, really key part of developing a business plan. If you don't have any competition, there's a good chance that nobody actually wants the thing that you're selling. Okay, so you always want to make sure that there are people around there offering alternative solutions, because if there aren't, that really means that there's no market for what you're doing. So in that framework, you want to understand who those exact people are with that exact problem. And my dog is going to come and join me for the remainder of this webinar. He's not particularly helpful, but he's cute. He sits at my feet. All right. Now, the next piece of that framework is looking at long-term goals. And if you were in the challenge, goals were day 3 of the business planning challenge, and I want to loop back around to that now. So once you understand the problem that you're solving, who you're solving it for, that specific group of customers, now what are the goals in your business that are going to help you reach out to as many of those customers as possible? So I challenge you to think about where you see your business 3 years from today, okay? What is the vision that you've reached? How many lives have you impacted? How profitable are you? And what are you doing with that money? Okay, goals don't always have to be financially grounded, not always, although it is important to understand how your business is performing financially. It's not the be all and end all of serving the people that you want to serve. Okay, that second piece on the slide, how many lives have you impacted? I think that's actually the key, because if you create a business that matters to as many people as possible, the money will come, right? It's about putting that value forward and delivering that, delivering those people exactly what they need. So how many lives have you impacted? The mission in my business, just to give you an example, is to help 10,000 people start new businesses by 2020. Okay, it's a pretty lofty goal. I've got about 3 years to achieve it, and hopefully we'll get there. You know, I'm part of the way there already. But if I actually reach that $10,000 goal, the money will be behind it, right? Because I am building a business, and if I'm going to help people, it's going to cost money to get that help, right? But that's really what it's about. It's about making sure that I have made an impact on as many people as possible. So set maybe 3, 4, I recommend 3 or 4 long-term goals in your business that you really think are going to define your financial performance as well as how many people you've helped. So that's part 3, I believe, yes. So part 4, and again, this was in day 4 of the challenge where we spoke a little bit about how to budget your money. I also want to speak on how to budget your time, because a lot of people think that if they just use social media tactics and they grab a cheap email responder program and they just start sending messages to people on Twitter, that they'll be able to build a business. Media is important. Yes, you can do a lot of quote unquote free things to grow your business, but what a lot of people forget to account for is the value of their time when they're doing those activities. All right, so social media, if you're going with all the free tactics that are out there, it takes a ton of time. Guest posting takes a ton of time. Going to networking events, a ton of time. Okay, yes, you can do it all for free, but you could end up spending 80 to 90% of your time just out there doing marketing and not actually being able to serve any clients. So you have to find a balance between the amount of time you spend on the activities you're doing to grow your business and the amount of money you're spending to grow your business, okay? So that's why I said, make that list of what you've got to spend money on, but don't worry about attaching numbers to it right away, because some of the things you can do for free, but you still want to put a value on your time. So whether you're planning your startup and trying to figure out what those expenses are going to be, or you're looking at your operating costs down the road and how much you want to spend on those, I recommend attaching a dollar value to your time. Decide what an hour of your time is worth. Maybe it's $100, okay? And if your time is worth $100 an hour and you're able to outsource an activity in your business for less than that, while you can focus on $100 an hour activities, do it. So that last question, are you bootstrapping or are you well-funded? Well, if you're bootstrapping, you know, you have to think about the value of that time even more. Whereas if you're well-funded, you can afford to push a little bit further with those paid marketing activities, but it might actually give you an opportunity to focus on high-value work and help your company grow faster. All right, bootstrapping is not always the answer. Sometimes it's worth it to get a little bit of funding to move forward. I promised you 20 minutes and we're at 16 already. So let's keep moving on. All right, so the next piece is about measurement and metrics. So what are the most important things you need to track to know if your business is successful? And this, of course, is going to connect directly to your goals and objectives, right? So if your goal is to, like mine, affect 10,000 people's lives by 2020, you know, what are the things that I need to track to know if I'm on pace to meet that goal? And it's going to be the number of clients, the number of people going through my business plan bootcamp program, the number of coaching calls that I have, right? All of that stuff, it's adding up and it's going to tell me if I'm on pace to achieve that massive goal. So your measurement could be about impact, about number of clients. It could be about profitability. It could be about social media following. It could be about conversion rates. Okay, if you're involved in online marketing, then your key metrics are what percentage of people who get on your email list, are you converting to customers, right? You have to decide on a metric that matters and avoid The challenge with this is avoiding what I call vanity metrics, well, what a lot of people call vanity metrics, which are just things like how many Twitter followers you have or how many connections you have on LinkedIn, you know, things that don't really tell you if your business is doing well. So figuring out what the right things to measure are in the very beginning is a bit of a challenge because you might not be sure how exactly to benchmark your performance, but maybe 3 or 4 things that seem like they would be effective metrics for you, and then gauge those over the course of the year to see if they're really telling you how your company is performing. And that 6th part of the framework then is resources. And I don't just mean stuff, equipment. I also mean people. So who do you need to help you do the best for your customers? Do you need to get a virtual assistant right away? Are you really, really bad at Facebook ads, so you need an online marketer to help you? You know, what are the people who are going to fill in the gaps in your skill set to make you succeed as soon as possible? And then the other piece that goes with resources are what are the equipment or the tools that are going to help you deliver that experience. So if you have a brick and mortar business, that's going to be the equipment, your display cases, your millwork, you know, your inventory, the stuff you need to really deliver that customer experience. If you're working online, maybe it's a scheduling tool like Meet Edgar. You know, it could be an accounting tool like Cashew or QuickBooks, okay? So figuring out what those resources are that you really need to get you going in your business and get you thriving and doing things the right way. It's really important to outline that from the very beginning. It doesn't mean you'll be able to access all of those resources at the start. You know, it may be some time before you are able to hire people. There may be certain tools or equipment that you just can't afford to buy right at the beginning, but decide what they are and when you're going to purchase them, people in, and then build that into your business plan so that, you know, when you start approaching that timeline, when you said you were going to bring those people in, that you can see that you're actually getting there. So that is a 6-part framework. That's what it looks like. And I feel like this is the best way to get your head around your business ideas, right? So, and these 6 pieces affect every single part of the business plan. So if you're building out your operations, you want to be thinking about your ideal customer, you know, and what kind of operations in your business are going to deliver the best experience for them. You know, if you're building your staffing plan, of course, the resources part of the framework fits into that. Measurement, objectives, and it affects your financial piece as well. The budgeting time and money, of course, every business plan needs to have financial forecasts. So whatever you've worked out in terms of the budget for your own time and the money that you're going to spend to build your business, that's going to help you develop those financial projections. Every single piece of the business plan can be connected back to this 6-part framework. But the framework is a lot more fun to develop and a lot easier to develop because it's not rigid, it's not linear, it doesn't restrict you into that weird structured format of a business plan template. Business is never linear, right? We never just go in a straight line and do the exact things we say that we're going to do and just walk through our business like it's nothing. If that was the case, if it was that easy, everybody would be an entrepreneur. It'd be so simple. Business is not linear. And so trying to force your ideas into a business plan format before you've really fleshed them out using the framework model, it's a really, really difficult task. And I think that's why a lot of people really get stuck with it. So this is what the framework looks like. Again, if you were not in the challenge, you might not have seen this before. And all you have to do is pop me an email, jessica@renegadeplanner.com, and I will email you a link to download it right away, and there will be no opt-in required, okay? I'm not just about collecting emails. I just wanted to get into your inbox on this Cyber Monday and talk to you about this framework, how it has worked for me, how it works for my clients, and how I believe that it can work for you. Now, I did promise you I would be giving you a quick little offer. I have to do this. It's Cyber Monday. I feel like it's just part of being an online marketer. If you are interested in taking that framework to the next step and developing that structured business plan, something that's fleshed out and full, that will help guide your operations, that will help you get financing if you're looking for it, then you might be interested in checking out my business plan bootcamp. And if you go to businessplanbootcamp.rocks/BPB, or just click that orange button right below the chat, you'll see I'm offering $100 off of the Business Plan Bootcamp until Friday only, December 2nd at midnight. So the course is normally $297, and I'm offering it until Friday for only $197. And there's even a 2K option if $197 is a little bit steep for you right now. I know we're getting into the holiday season, but I'm not going to give you a big, long sales pitch about what the program is about, but I do want to tell you that the offer is available, and you can read all about it at businessplanbootcamp.rocks/BPB and get $100 off by Friday. It's a steal of a deal. I think it's an awesome program. I've had a couple dozen people go through it already, and they're super happy. Happy to share testimonials and any other information that you want, but all the program information is at that link. And I really hope that you do check it out. Hey, I'm super pumped that you guys showed up this morning. Thank you so much for spending your Monday morning with me. There'll be no replay of this webinar, but I will email you a couple of times just to say hello and see if you have any questions about how the framework works. Again, I'm going to sign off, but thank you so much and have an awesome, awesome day.